Well, was the tactic maker here hoping for a different outcome when Tottenham started their new season? Let's jump in and see. This one is called the 4222 Marco. I have no idea what the Marco is from, and I apologize if you can hear the thunder outside, but it's the only time I can record. But I don't know if the Marco is based on Marco Silva, who is kind of rumored to become the next Tottenham manager. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and Thomas Frank became the manager instead. So I'm not really sure if this was sort of with Marco Silva in mind or someone else, but trying their 4222. But we're going to take a look at it anyway because I saw it on the page I got these from, and it looked interesting. We don't do a lot of these. We don't cover a lot of these types of tactics with the four up front right there. Maybe a couple here and there throughout this time. But we're going to test out as usual with our teams of Liverpool and Aston Villa in the Premier League and our championship side of Ipswich Town. So with all that said, let's just dive in and see how it worked. Well, now, I used Tottenham in this example because they used Tottenham, and they got them to second place with 90 points. Our Liverpool team, 102 with 141 goals. It looks pretty nice. Aston Villa in third as well. Liverpool having a fantastic run of it over Aston Villa in the Carabao Cup semi-finals and over Ipswich in the Carabao Cup final. Wow. But they get to the FA Cup final beating Arsenal 3-1. That's 3 trophies right there. Sadly, a dismal performance in Europe, getting only to the Europa League quarterfinals, losing out to Newcastle. So yeah, still with that blemish in Europe, this is a pretty good season. And squad-wise, they definitely have the green to show for it. Goals, 43 for Salah, wow, 32 for Nunez, 27 for McAllister, 21 for Gakpo, assists, 21 for Robertson, 20 for Szoboszlai, average rating Mohamed Salah with a 7.69. But now let's switch it up to Aston Villa. They're out in the FA Cup third round immediately 0-3 against Nottingham Forest, and we already saw them lose out in the Carabao Cup semi-finals against Liverpool. But at least they have a much better success. Europa Conference League final 1-0 over Fenerbahce. But still, Champions League next season, winners of the Conference League, semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, I would say it still looks pretty nice. And they've got some green. It's more on the average side, though, unfortunately. But goals, 34 for Diaby, Watkins with 26, 22 for Ramsey, assists, 17 for Digne, 16 for Matty Cash, and then average rating Digne with a 7.34. Data Hub, Liverpool looking nice, attacking minded, definitely as always. Defensively, they look actually slightly better than usual, but 3.71 goals per game is pretty phenomenal. 0.68 conceded, 0.88 XG against. Aston Villa having the goals this time, definitely looking nice attacking wise. Worse though than in team defending than usual, but 2.82 goals per game is pretty nice for them, no question about it. 1.45 conceded, 1.45 XG against is definitely on the slightly worse side. Premier League stats, 2.68 points per game for Liverpool in first, third place Villa with 2.18. Most goals, first and second though, of course, 141 down to 107. Fewer shots against. Liverpool only in second though with 273. Villa in seventh with 394. Most possession, 56% for Liverpool. Villa with 53. Most dribbles made. Liverpool 638. Villa with 600 flat. Villa do make the most tackles won list doing that defensive work with 890. But then most shots for Liverpool in first. Aston Villa in second, 761 down to 611. Now we already know this is going to be an absolute shellacking in the championship, right? Yeah, Ipswich Town with 117 points, 98 goal differential is pretty nice. Now this is what I wanted to see. They get through West Ham in the Carabao Cup third round. They get through a bunch of other teams, not the highest teams like an Arsenal or a Chelsea or a Man City. However, they did get 4 past Liverpool, but unable to get the win in that. So losing out in the Carabao Cup final, but they still got to a final, which is pretty insane. They got to the FA Cup quarterfinals against Newcastle and lose 2-3. Still, runners-up at the Carabao Cup quarterfinals of the FA Cup, first place handily in the championship, definitely worked for them. Squad-wise, they have more in the green than they usually do, which is great to see. 42 goals for Hurst, and when he fires on all cylinders in FM24, it works very well. Assists, 19 for both Leif Davis and Harry Clark. Average rating, George Hurst, of course, with his 7.58. Championship stats. Ipswich in first with 2.54 points per game. Very nice there. Most goals in first with 151 clear front runners. Fewer shots against in second, 346. Most possession with 55%. Most dribbles made with 722. No defensive issues here. Most shots for in first with 854. Now is the time where we take a look at the tactic itself a little bit deeper. Sweeper, keeper, and defend is where we start. Fullbacks on the left and the right in attack. Ball-playing defenders in the central pieces. 2 DMs in support. So far, nothing out of the ordinary. Now, 2 attacking midfielders, 1 in support, 1 in attack. They both have that mark-specific position. It is that DR and DL. We have a pressing forward in support next to an advanced forward in attack. Attacking mentality, in possession attacking with his narrow, approach play is pass into space, overlap on the left and the right, but focus play down the middle. Passing directness is shorter, tempo is higher, low crosses and run at defense. In transition, counter press, counter, distribute quickly and roll it out. And out of possession, a high press line of engagement, a much higher defensive line, trigger press much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, get stuck in, step up more, and invite crosses. So overall, how did it do for these 3 teams? Definitely a nice job. I mean, we get the goals, we get the points. It worked all the way around. Aston Villa even coming in 3rd, so it definitely looks like a nice one to try. Normally, we save those types of glowing accolades for the 4-2-4s that work really well, as I always say. But here, it definitely worked like a charm. And if you take control, as I always say as well, you definitely could do a bit better using your own transfers, tactical changes, match tweaks, training, things like that. You could definitely have a much better time than here. And it worked fairly well. But that's it for me, 7FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.